Hello everyone and welcome to Shay's Microbiology. So now that we have entered virology, the first real question we need to ask is a very basic one. What exactly is a virus? Because the moment you start learning virology, you quickly realize that viruses don't behave like anything we have studied before. They don't fit neatly into the category of bacteria, they don't behave like fungi, and they don't definitely behave like parasites. In fact, viruses sit right at the border between life and non-life. So let's unpack that slowly. At its most basic level, a virus is genetic material surrounded by a protein coat. That genetic material can be DNA or RNA, never both. And surrounding it is a protein shell called a capsid. Some viruses also have an outer envelope made from host cell membranes, but that part is optional. So when you strip everything away, a virus is not a cell. It has no cytoplasm, no nucleus, no ribosomes, no mitochondria, nothing, just genetic instructions wrapped in protein. So are viruses living? And this is where the debate always starts. Outside a whole cell, a virus does absolutely nothing. It doesn't breathe, it doesn't move, it doesn't grow, it doesn't metabolize. Outside a cell, a virus is biologically inactive. You can literally think of it as a package of information just waiting. But the moment that virus enters a suitable host cell, everything changes. Inside the cell, the virus takes over cellular machinery, directs protein synthesis, replicates its genome, produces new viral particles, and suddenly it behaves like something alive. So viruses are not fully living and they're not completely non-living either. That's why many scientists describe viruses as obligate intracellular parasites or simply as infectious particles. Now, from a strict biological definition of life, viruses fail several criteria. They cannot reproduce independently. They have no metabolism. They cannot maintain homeostasis. They cannot generate energy. All of these processes depend entirely on the host cell. So without a host cell, a virus is basically inert. This is why viruses are not placed in the traditional tree of life. But here's the interesting part. Viruses evolve over time, mutate, adapt to hosts, respond to selective pressure. They change in response to vaccines, antiviral drugs, and immune systems. And evolution is a property we strongly associate with life. So viruses challenge our definitions. They force us to rethink what living actually means. So let's summarize the defining features of viruses. Viruses are acellular, composed of nucleic acid and protein, unable to replicate independently, dependent on host cells, extremely small, much smaller than bacteria, capable of rapid mutation and evolution. And because of these features, laboratory diagnosis of viral infection is very different from bacteriology. Because viruses cannot grow on routine media, laboratory diagnosis focuses on detecting viral antigens, detecting viral nucleic acid, or detecting antibodies produced by hosts. So once you understand what the virus is and what it is not, the rest of laboratory virology starts to make sense. So viruses are not living organisms in the classical sense. They are infectious particles that come alive only inside host cells. They exist at the edge of biology, and that's exactly why virology is such a fascinating field. Next, we will talk about viral structure and classification and how these features influence transmission, diagnosis, and treatment. This is Shay's Microbiology, where we don't just memorize facts, we understand how microbes actually work.